Well, hey, good morning, folks. We're going to do some artwork today. So give me a minute here to check in on my signal to make sure that I'm coming through clearly. We're going to do some book art for Eberron in the Dungeons & Dragons game using the 2024 rules. It's called Crystals in a Bar. You can see the book cover right here, right now. We're doing all the interior art. We have about a dozen illustrations left before we can publish the book. We're doing all the interior art. Sounds like my signal is coming through nice, loud, and clear. So we're going to drop that volume down to get it out of the way. I'm going to grab the link here real fast to do some just quick social media posts. It takes less than a minute, but if you're catching this in a replay, you are welcome to skip ahead to when I'm rambling about stuff that's more fun. But I am just about done with my postings, and there we go. We're done with my postings. So let's drop down here. Okay, looks like the embed is good. Blue Sky X Twitter. Well, hey, good morning. How you doing, man? Let me just finish up the conversation here and get myself launched. Here, I'm just rearranging windows right now. And, okay, hey, we're good to go. Let's see, book cover. We're working on interior art today. Here's the full screen at the 16:9 ratio. It's difficult to manually get it to fit the screen for some reason with Photoshop. There you go. So here's your full 16:9 panel. The fonts are 12-point fonts, so they're super big and easy to read. If you're on a tablet, or even maybe a mobile phone, you could probably already read the text that's on the page. And each column is also 16:9. It's 5 inches wide and 9 inches tall, so not quite 16:9, but it fits within the margins. So you can look at a full page at a time and then flip through it that way if the text font size is comfortable, or if you need to zoom in, you can do so looking at one column at a time before flipping pages. There you go. So it works really well, whether you're playing in person with a tablet in your lap and behind your screen, or if you're on a computer like I am. You can have one screen for the PDF and the other screen for the tabletop and your Discord channel or whatever device it is that you use to do your VTT stuff. I'm a big Roll20 fan myself. Or you can even have it just doing tab swaps to bounce back and forth between the two documents. You can do it that way as well if you need to. So it's going to, once we finish it, like the other books that I have linked down below, pretty much like the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book and the Color Mana Spell Point Variant Rules in particular, are hyperlinked the hell out of them. They have a navigation bar at the bottom. That will be the different sections of the book that you click one, and it'll take you to the front end of that section, including each dungeon that is in the adventure. So you can click on the cemetery, the Forgotten Cemetery icon, and that'll take you to the beginning of that section where the main map for the entire cemetery is, and each number on the map will also be hypersensitive. So you can click on those and it'll take you to that position in the PDF. And when you want to go back to the map, you just click the cemetery icon again and it'll just take you back to the map. So you can bounce. So depending on where the team goes, you can just follow them in the dungeon on the main map. And when they pick a room to go into, you can click on that and zip, it'll open up that page and it'll tell you all about that. And then you go back down to the navigation bar, click it, takes you back to that. Where do you guys want to go next? And makes it really fucking easy to navigate. So I'm really excited about just building this book as just better tech for people to have as just a design philosophy behind it, like producing adventures so that they're highly navigatable. Hey, nope. More past. Yeah, we have. We're working on Eberron art today for Crystals in a Bar. It's for characters levels 7 and 8. Obviously, it's Eberron, so it's going to be publishing on the DMsGuild once it's completed. This is the cemetery map I was talking about. Right here, it's at an angle because the perspective in the picture here is basically here. The camera is essentially here, looking this way, and Enrica, who we have depicted here, she's one of the Silver Flame Scouts that had gotten here before the characters had, that started to investigate the Manifest Zone and got captured. Enrica, the rogue of the party, got away. And these smudges will eventually be Emerald Claw officers seeking her out to try to drag her back to prison and sacrifice. So we have taken the architecture of this gazebo here and having it out of view behind camera angle stuff, showing hints of this gazebo in the background here, reflecting the model that we have here. And then we have the little plot of land on the cemetery, which is here. Then becomes sludgy water. I love these giant pools of water. There could be any amount of undead inside of here under the haze. And they can just crawl out onto shore and start rambling their way towards the characters to mob them and kill them. So the DM can have, there's one here, there's one here, there's one here, there's one here. Every round, if you wanted to, you could roll a d4 to see which pit has monsters emerge first, and they can automatically just find you. The haze that's floating through the cemetery or through the entire manifest zone, it limits our vision to 40 feet, but undead, it's like air to undead. They don't see it at all. So they can see you all the way across campus, and if you're like positioned right where this is at, your visibility would basically be limited to 10, 20, 30, about here. This is about when your vision starts to die off. And then here it's completely obscured. So in the map that we have, that's all the architecture I need, because you're going to hit the wall. So we're going to start doing faded geography into the background, and then we're going to layer over more fog on top of it to create that oppressive feel. And then everything at this line, like from this line to this line here, is going to be lightly obscured, so I don't have to worry about too much intense detail on the guards that are moving around, which are smaller figures and then getting pushed back further by the fog. So that's the strategy that we're going with. And then, of course, texture. We want to be able to, there's a lot of texture going on in this map that pulls the eye around, and like all the crystal grit that's growing on these broken cobblestones, little puddles in the cobblestones, mud and dirt and rocks sticking through underneath the cobblestone where it's already been eroded. This place has been buried by forest for hundreds of years. And then the manifest zone comes in and rots all of it with necrotic gas. All of the vegetation dies and then further seeps into the soil. That's why all the undead are animated, because necrotic energy is infusing the ground where everyone is buried. So they're just getting up and roaming freely under no one's control. So it's a menace. It's a menace. Yeah, a lot of, like, the DM can lean in a lot of different directions about, like, if you want to Scooby-Doo this place, where your job is just to simply dodge the mobs of undead because maybe you're beat up, you haven't had a chance to escape, or you're on a rush, or you're just playing, off your level. Like, if you're playing this too low, Scooby-Dooing away from mobs to avoid them is a winning condition, because once they get their grip on you, it's you're gonna take some damage before you get away. It's a hazard, so it's saving throw from roaming mobs of undead until you get them down to 2 undead apiece. Then they can't mob anymore, and they're just separate creatures again. But at that point, you've pretty much wrapped up the combat anyway. As a mob, when they contact your character, you have to make a dex or strength saving throw to avoid being grappled. And then if you fail, you'll take damage, and then they grapple you, and then you're gonna take damage again until you can escape the grapple. But even if you succeed the saving throw, you're going to take half damage, like as though it were a spell or a trap. It's a hazard. It's a mobile hazard of creatures that are chasing after characters through the environments that we created. So, so the bigger monsters like shambling mounds or like revenants or chain devils, those are solo fights, or like maybe 3 or 4 creatures at most. So it's a small scale combat. But these mobs of like CR2 and lower are not threats to 7th and 8th level characters, and it's mostly just a slog and wasting their time. But if you convert them into hazards, that if they get near you, you will take damage, that's going to slowly whittle down an 8th level party so that their resources start getting spent on healing because they keep getting tagged. Every time you get tagged, you take damage, even if they don't catch you. so a rogue is your best shield in these mob situations because of evasion. A monk, I don't think, gets it until 9th level. They might get it at 7th. I don't think so, though. So manifest zones are fun, nice way to explain why this one spot makes stuff possible. Like the whole council of undead hero elves have only possible. The council of undead heroes elves have is only possible due to manifest zone. Yeah, right on. Are you talking about like you have undead party and they have trouble getting work anywhere other than the manifest zone, or this would be a reason why your undead or your unliving elves manifested? I'm kind of curious about what you're talking about, and while if you choose to respond and form your thoughts, then I will allow you to do so while I am over here pressing buttons. So let's see. I got a little bit less. I've got about an hour that I get to spend today doing artwork, but we come back and we do this every day. So let's see. Here's the ground. I think what I want to do is start adding in details of broken cobblestone and stuff on the streets. So I'm going to go back to our reference here. Grab a mental image real fast. There's these large pothole divots here are what I'm actually interested in potentially replicating. Colonies of crystals here and on all the steps. And I can have, in the dirt, I can have little patches of viridescent fungus called a Vulpina Lotharia. It's it basically a space that has Vulpina in it until you burn it with fire. Any damage with fire will take care of it. But until you do so, if you step in that square, you're affected by a stinking cloud spell, which is you make a Constitution saving throw, DC 13. If you fail, you lose your turn because you throw up. You can move out of the space and start your turn elsewhere, but if you end your turn in Lotharia, when it becomes your turn again, you're going to have to make the saving throw again until you get out of it. Some of the undead carry that stuff in their belly, and when you hit them, they explode, and they flop this Lotharia Vulpina all over the place. And if you're within 5 feet of them in melee combat and you get hit by this, you could lose your action. If you're being mobbed, you save with disadvantage. So you could potentially get grappled, and then while grappled trying to escape, you burst one of them and they dump Lotharia everywhere, and the stench of it kills your actions, so you can't try to grapple to break the grapple next turn. So like it can get really fucking nasty really fast. So I'll have little patches of that glowing in here, and I think when we finish the final map, we're gonna add little patches of Vulpina, and then razor the ferric vines are bones that instead of animating, stretch out and grow into these thistle tarns. So like if there's a partial skeleton that can't animate and properly navigate itself, like all of its ribs would grow out basically into a giant razor bush that's made of elongated and necrotized bones. So there's really interesting harvesting opportunities that you can gather from this place. Like you could have like a black-green devoted death druid that would love to get these ferric bones like to make armor out of or to make magic items with. That would be their jam. Like a Golgari type Witherbloom character would that would be awesome. Like Death Knights and Illriggers and shit like that. They would love to be able to harvest material from these because it's as strong as iron, but it's made of bone, so you can craft with it and form different, old like primal society type of fabricating armor and stuff, but it's powerful necrotic material. So it's a cool vibe. I think it's a cool vibe anyway. All right, so back on track. puddle there. Tear in the cobblestone there and there. Got it. So let's go back. Actually, I want to grab the margins there. Let's grab that one. Let me go. Hey, I'm trying to scroll. Thank Thank you. Okay, we got everything set up. I've got the right thing. This broke out like that, I believe. And then the rest of it goes across the midline. Okay, cool. And that should actually be more like this. There. So that'll modify the line running on the path. There we go. This one should be foreground more. Got it. Got it. Okay, cool. Layered properly. This is layering on top here. Masking layer. I don't want to erase the line. I want to mask it. So if I need to grab it again for some reason, it's still, the information still exists, but now it's invisible. They actually no, like by lore elf heroes on the island get resurrected and rule them in Eberron. Such grand necromancy is only possible on such scale. So a powerful yes, I see what you're saying. Thank you. Good. I'm glad our narrative is helping justify your game mechanics. That's called ludonarrative, and actually it's not. Ludonarrative is when a mechanic and its description complement each other. So I guess, that term is relevant here because the scenario, the narrative that we're setting up about how these manifest zones work leans into how you can justify the undead elves that you are referring to. So, okay, great. I'm back up to speed now. That feels good. And let's see, let's look for more breaches that we might catch sight of. This could be bigger and go off camera. And there's another break over here. Something like this, I think. That might not be accurate. Murph. I should cut out this section so it's easier for me to reference. So I'm going to like that. Copy. Paste. Drop it down. Now we're zoning in on what we actually need to pay attention to. Okay, we can fix this. So here, like that. Get the, let's get the guards out of the way. There you go. Like that. There we go. Get these shapes filled in here. this. Yeah, this clips in like that. And then curves in here, and then it bubbles out again like that. Roughly. There we go. And then I'm flattening the angles so that so it doesn't look so sharp, like that it's directly coming at. It's coming right for you. So the sharper the angle, the more vertical it looks. So if I flatten it out, it starts to meet the curve. It meets the perspective, the spatial perspective that we have set up here. So it should probably actually be slid up a little bit. Yeah, that feels better now. And like we were talking before, I don't want to get rid of that line because I might need it. And it's back. So those look good. We're now working back here towards the left. Let's see, between these two, there is a cobblestone. And then there is another. Did I? I did. Cut. Paste. Merge down. Drop them back again. All right, so we're making shapes over here. We're gonna have one cobblestone here. We'll have another cobblestone here. I think that's accurate, right? Okay, to the inside and a little bit smaller. Like that. And then resize it, transform, shrink it down a smidge. There we go. That feels about right. And then, actually, where's that bump meet? It doesn't. There, and it only goes out to. Yeah, it goes across the way. So over here like that. And curve that off a little bit and drop that curve as well, just to flatten out the shape. There we go. Oh, it goes all the way across the way. Neat. Uh-oh, hold on, discovery. This should be soil. Perfect timing. All right, so let's go into our colors. Here are our cobblestones. We erase the cobblestones from here because that's going to be ground. And we get to include it here. And we get to erase it here. Huh, that was weird. Oh, I get it now. I had to do that twice. I just didn't get it. Race up in here. Clear off this patch. I like doing this stuff. I like converting angles. It's a meditative sort of process. That you're analyzing the shape of the map, looking at it overhead, and then calculating for what would the change in angle be with the elevation of the different structures. And it's a fun mental process. I have to think sometimes, and we know the more I have to think, the less I can really just make the art flow. But it's sure fun to do. So I'm gonna erase all this stuff in here, and I enjoy sharing that stuff with you guys. So cheers. This is what I want to block out, not erase. Just block it out, because God knows I might need it again. Block it out here, and here just for kicks. Nope, that's not accurate. Never mind. Here we get rid of it like that. Here. Yeah, I guess we can. Nah, we'll leave it in place. Sorry, design hiccup there. Back on track. Let's see. We want to go back to the color layer and continue erasing cobblestones. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? What's your relation to mega dungeons, by the way? They are amazing, but they can also be soul draining with a DM not up to the task. Yeah, they can certainly be soul draining. That is 100% truth, my man. I've been running a mega dungeons from level 3, and we just now hit 9th level. It's each zone is about 300 feet on a side, and the team has conquered 10 zones so far from level 3 to 9. So, and the way we're doing it Beckme style, in that they have to extract gold and give it away for them to get experience points for it. So, initially platinum coin and gold was okay, but as their levels went up, we've had to ratchet up to like having like gemstones and crystals that can hold magical charges, and like magical fungus that can like be used for restoration and stuff like that. Like these more and more exotic materials that are higher in value, so that when you extract a whole bunch of moss and then you use alchemy to convert it into like, I don't know, like an antitoxin, and then you sell all that stuff in civilization, you have to take it all back to home base with you, actually process material, market the stuff out, and get rid of it for you to gain the experience points. So we roll D6 plus your level. No, it's D6 plus your proficiency bonus is the number of weeks it takes for you to go from the dungeon, unload all your shit, and then come back to the dungeon with whatever level up that you gained to continue attacking the dungeon. In the meantime, the dungeon will restock itself to a degree. So I've got a table and stuff for the dungeon where I could be using my hands less while I'm talking about it. So I'll just keep pontificating about that. So, hey, thanks for the topic, by the way. I love talking about mega dungeons. So when they come back to the dungeon, if they've cleared out, like, say, 5 or 6 zones, 1 or 2 of them may have been repopulated with a different creature from further down inside the dungeon. So, in a sense, they have to hit the same locations. They have to get a beachhead inside of the dungeon for them to take rests at. So if you can secure a zone, you can short or long rest there. And we're running, since it's playtesting, and we have 3-hour sessions every Saturday, it's basically we're doing 2 short rests for every long rest. So when the game is over, they can retreat to a safe point that they've secured, and they can take a short rest. Next session, short rest, and then a long rest. But I think honestly, we're just playing with what do they call that? Give me a second. Gritty realism, the gritty realism healing system. It's the default is 1 week is a long rest, and each night of sleep is a short rest. But that's not bad if your marshals don't have mana resources. If the way the martial power system works is that everybody has half or full casting progression worth of mana. So if I have half your normal mana supply and I can get it back and I can get all of my mana back every night, and you can't get any back except for every other day, that paces out that they both have the same amount of the same amount of mana. It just like short rest, long rest, short rest, long rest, short rest, long rest. It's a artificial rhythm, but it helps pace. It's accurate for the pacing of the game that we're actually running. So yeah, it's so far so good. It's working out, and yeah, we got to 9th level so far. They've fought a lot of different creatures. We started off with orcs, ogres, and an Etten at 3rd level, and the orcs, the greenskins, ended up hiring the characters because they were wiping them all out. So they ended up trucing and hiring the characters because deeper in the dungeon, their chieftain and their shaman and war chief were cut off by a horde of undead, and those that the team was mauling through at 3rd level weren't strong enough to handle the threat of 4th and 5th level combat that's deeper into the dungeon, where the war chief and the shaman and their brutes are stuck at. So like, we can't go in and rescue them. We're gonna get killed, and you've killed half of us. We'll just give you whatever treasure we have here, and we're going. And if you can retrieve our war chief and captain, we're just gonna walk away and not contest this area anymore. It's yours. And the team took the deal, so they gained their level and secured their foothold in the dungeon after killing the Etten, 2 ogres together, and a couple hobgoblins. They had gotten themselves to 4th level, and so we, at the time, that was low enough that I was like, you can go ahead and just secure the spot for yourself at 3rd level, and that's your foothold in, and then moving forward there. This is, I think, a gazebo issue. Hold on. There's a color splash that I can't seem to get rid of. Yeah, that's a gazebo issue. We'll clean up the gazebo later. Once they got their foothold, then they cleared out the undead, rescued the war chief, and the shamans, got them back with what was left of their tribe, and the team went back to get 5th level back in town. And while they did that, the orcs cleared out shop and got out of the way, gave them time to clear out. So the team then came back 3 weeks later, and the orcs were out of the way, and the passage was open. There was still undead in the temple, and there was, hidden rooms and traps, and I use incorporeal undead to be able to move through walls, hit people, and then move back through the walls again. As a harassment, they have to ready an action to attack as it draws near, or use like Sentinel or something when it tries to retreat. And if it can Sentinel stick it, then it can't go through the wall, and they get an attack round against it, and then it can attack back and then try to drop back through the wall. They can try to hit it with Sentinel to try to lock it in place. But of course, if I hit you with like 3 shadows that do this, or 3 specters that can do that, then that's going to harass the fuck out of your party from like level 4 to 7. So in 3rd edition, I would use mobs. I'd use wall mobs of like 5 or 6 advanced wraiths that would do like D6 strength damage every time they touched you, and then would also do hit points of damage that would reduce the maximum hit points that you had. So I'd hit you with both the shadow and the wraith effects at the same time. This is like against like 18th level characters. So every time you ding the wizard, it loses D6 strength points. And how many strength points does your wizard have? Probably 8. So like, all he has to do is get scraped by these guys 2, maybe 3 times, and that wizard is paralyzed, and they now have to dump a restoration spell onto it to recover the ability for the wizard to cast spells, because he was life drained into paralysis. So if your strength drops to 0, you are, I think shadows kill you and you raise as a shade. But in 3rd edition, when we were doing this stuff at 18th level, it was 0 strength equals paralyzed. 0 constitution kills you. 0 intelligence turns you into a vegetable. 0 wisdom makes you catatonic. 0 dexterity is paralysis as well. Yeah, paralysis, death. Incoherent. Wisdom was comatose, and charisma, I think, was comatose as well. So, yeah. So basically, dropping any stat to 0 disabled your character from play, and would require a greater restoration spell to purge the ability point damage to get your character back online, which is a 5th level spell. So that's expensive. That's an 18th level tax. The same as like at 3rd level being taxed to cure like wounds, like a cure wounds spell. It's like shit. That's one of the few good spells I have rolling right now. Every time that wizard goes down, you're draining your cleric or your paladin of a 5th level spell slot or 5 mana if you're using spell points, and it's punishing. It's very, very punishing to do so. So you can knock down high level parties pretty quickly that way. So if you use, like, that's a tool that we have in our toolbox from the Shadow, which is a creature in the monster manual, and the only guidance we have on creating monsters is take stuff from other creatures and add them to your monster. We now have ability point damage that we can apply to basically any creature in the game that we want. Psionics is a good way to go. If you really want to spice up your psionic combat, have your aboleth deal wisdom damage when it talks to you. I do that with demons when not exactly when demons or angels use telepathy on you. It deals psychic damage because they're so powerful and they're so vast in intellect that when they hit your brain, you just basically get flooded with information and realities that you probably can't handle. So you take psychic damage when they communicate with you, and they know this. So a demon can just talk you to death, like literally can talk you to death if you can't do something to shut it up. So it's fun. Like you need tower of intellect tower to protect your mind while you're engaging with these creatures. And of course, a magic circle will block the damage from coming through. So as long as you have a magic circle up and you have the demon captured, it won't hurt you. But that's why you need a fucking magic circle so badly, because it just you negotiating with it while it's in the circle in the first place could kill you. So you got to deal with that. I mean, that's my Eberron. That's how I run D&D. But fighting an Illithid in 5e, when it hits you, it could deal its psychic damage, and it could do D4 points of intelligence damage, for instance. And so that would just be basically like levels of exhaustion is probably a better way to do it in 5e, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, is that every time they hit you, they give you a degree of exhaustion for that stat specifically. So if I'm doing intelligence stuff, it's going to knock down my modifiers by -2, -2, -2, -2, and then I'm dead. And like disadvantage, like instead of like having half movement, like at the 3rd mark, now everything's at disadvantage that you do with intelligence, as well as having the stacking modifiers. So -2, -4, -6, and now if you make a, like if we're talking about an Illithid with intelligence, now everything that you do with intelligence is with disadvantage, including spellcasting if you're a wizard. -8, -10, and then 6, you're dead. So that's the 6 degrees, and at the 3rd point, everything becomes disadvantaged. So you can affect each stat separately. Get caught in a bear trap, you now have 1 degree of exhaustion on your strength. Anything you do with the strength check is going to be at -2, and your movement speed will be reduced because you got caught in a bear trap. So like by 5 feet. So now you're only moving 25 feet instead of 30, and so you can fix that strength damage or dexterity damage in that instance. So this is how you can work ability damage in 5e. And make it scaling and a little bit more technical because of the penalties that are involved. So you have to keep track of the floating penalty, but it's just 2 to 10. It's pretty simple, corresponding with the degree of damage your stat has taken. So you don't actually have to reduce the stats or modify them, but of course when you get to 0, you're paralyzed or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know why I decided to share that, but that's that is a way that you can challenge you can challenge characters of literally any level in the game. Just tear them down with stat damage. It's super easy. You're not going to have a stat higher than 25 in D&D, and if a creature is dealing D6 damage, basically that's 8 hits and you're dead, regardless of whatever that CR is. Let's drop the line weight there a little bit. Yeah, okay. Those patches look good. The 5 foot, the 5 foot grid isn't. It's a grid. It's not literally there. So the cobblestones often coincide with the grid map, but it doesn't specifically have 5 foot. Like, doesn't have to necessarily specifically be 5 foot tiles. This is a game element that I often have the cobblestones align with, but I'm not required to have every square drawn out on the map. And I don't think I actually want to do that. I think I want to leave it more vague. But there's all sorts of little tears and breaks throughout here. I'm kind of tempted to... Oh, I'm really tempted to do this. Copy. Wait. Copy. Paste. Free transform. Perspective. Free transform. Tuck this in. Perspective. Free transform. No, I want to leave it. I want to leave it like that. And now I want to free transform. Oh, that perspective isn't that far off. Hold on. This let's resize this. Is that the right angle? Oh boy, it sure seems like it. Okay. This would line up about like that. And I need to transform, squinch this down. That's about where it lines up. It's a little big. Let's reduce the size a smidge. To about like that. That's pretty great, actually. And here's our structure. Let's see. That's off a little bit. But that's okay. That's okay. It's cleverly concealed. So actually, good point. Let's see if we can stretch this out with perspective, and let's see if we can get that to work. Ooh, if that angle's changing. Probably means I have the wrong perspective. I wish I'd thought of this before. Oh man, that totally lines up. I fucking did it right. Can you believe that? I did it fucking right by fucking freehand. I actually got the angles right. Holy shit. That's really fucking good. I don't mind breaking my arm, patting myself on the back on that one, because this is a little big. Let's reduce the size just another smidge, and it's gonna be on fucking point. Let's make sure we're shrinking the whole thing. Yeah, that feels accurate. Oh my god, that's awesome. Okay. I wish I knew this was going to go so well. I would have grabbed a bigger chunk of map. But I guess we just skinned our own illustration. That's awesome. Yeah, there you go. That's what that terrain would look like. Hey, what's up? Yeah. By reviews, it seems really trippy, as is right of Alice in Wonderland theme book. What's your relation to Mega Dungeons? They're amazing. Yeah. Oh, that's why we were talking about Mega Dungeons and the philosophies that go into it, and then the type of monsters, and then, hey, here's a good way. Oh yeah, because I've been using the going through the walls to attack the characters, dealing strength damage to them, as just a local threat, and yeah, I feel like I should reduce. I feel like I need to reduce the size just a smidge more. Get these buttons back up, snug up against that. I can't believe that actually is accurate. That's fucking blowing my mind. But that obviously that looks horrible, but we can now use this as our template, so I can get rid of this junk, and I can drop the opacity on this a little bit. And now we can accurately see where all these puddles are supposed to be. So I'm going to re-enable that layer. I should have thought this through. Because now I can do it with 100% accuracy. So let's just start that over again. Lesson learned. Good lesson, though. Good lesson. So let's drop this guy back in, and we're lighting up the opacity. And now we're going to put a layer over it. We've got our... Let's push this back to 100% here real quick. Hold on. And grab that color. There. And drop the opacity again. If you're available on Saturday mornings, 9 o'clock Seattle PST time, we're actively recruiting for more people to play in our mega dungeon. Looks like we have 3 players right now. Rill, Cakes, and Seanwin, who's friends of the channel already. That's how most of my recruiting happens, is finding people that are in, people watch my stream and they get interested in my stuff. They start hanging out on my Discord, and then they start playing in play tests. So that is, I'm always recruiting, but it is a very specific time. So, 9 a.m. on a Saturday, which is like noon East Coast. That doesn't always jive with whoever's around. Let's make a... Hold on. Let's make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Oops. Here. There it is. They just took out an Artificer Lich that was its phylactery and body was buried in an earthquake. And every time the team leaves for town to gain a level, there's a chance that there's another earthquake or shifting. The ground shifts, and new portions of the dungeon can open up. Other sections can collapse. And in this last session, when the last level that they gained from level 7 to 8, when they gained their level, the earth moved and the phylactery got revealed, and the Lich was able to manifest inside the dungeon. And there was a bunch of constructs and undead guardians inside of this temple that they were invading. And so the team was gone for 7 weeks. And when they came back, the Lich Artificer had started building new minions out of the gargoyles and animated construct gricks and stuff that iron cobras and all these different type of undead or constructs that the team ended up mowing through and destroying. I mean, I know that gargoyles are technically elemental creatures, earth elemental creatures, but I framed them as constructs in this example. I just changed their creature type. Didn't really have any other effects on it, other than it's not a sentient creature. So I mean, there was that going for me. But this Artificer was that's right. Words. They had the reason they went back to town is because they had cleared out a phase spider nest, and there was a huge-sized mother phase spiders. I have my phase spiders operate in colonies. They're not solo creatures that kill each other if they run across them. I have them work as collectives, and they share a sort of hive mind while they're in a nest together, and their nests are in the ethereal plane because they're phase spiders. So there was this phase spider nest had grown so strong that its strands actually extended back into physical space inside this dungeon with all this necrotic energy. So the phase spiders were all black-blue, devoted creatures doing necrotic and poison damage types, as well as I guess technically. The Greyhawk card set has pretty much defined teleportation effects as white, but I always think etherealness is blue for some reason. So I just go with black blue as the color combinations for the up. The angle is off a little bit over here. Let's fix that. Because I can. We're going to distort. Drop it down. That should be aligned. Perfect. Well, not perfect. Let's adjust again from this side. So we're going to go with free transform and distort. There, that looks really good. Okay, cool. That fixed that. Back to work, Kearney. No rest for the wicked, son. Okay, so no more breaks over here. These cracks are going to be out of view. I see fit. Actually. Whoa. Oh shit, was I actually drawing on the actual piece? There you go. Okay, cool. That aligns. Yeah, that's actually accurate. So I'll put some water in over here. Subtle. Oh, interesting. Not yet. We'll do it like that. There. And anything else I need to think about off here in the distance? Broken cobblestone. Broken cobblestone. This is all going to get fogged out anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I wanted to include it. I'm just going to clip this end over here. That all looks pretty good. Oh, and there's broken cobblestones over here. Hey, what's going on? Hey, Eddie. What's your favorite part of Eberron, if you have one? I'm running a Spelljammer asteroid belt campaign right now, where Warforged gnomes and dwarves have mecha and airships, or Spelljammer ships, capable of going to the asteroid belt to mine them for Sybaris crystals, and all the rocks that are up there in orbit as well have platinum, electrum, bieshk, adamantine, mithril, all the metals plus iron from 1 to 10. 1 to 9 materials that you would have in scaling, like it goes from iron to copper to silver, electrum, gold, platinum. From there, it's platinum, and then it's bieshk, and then mithril, adamantine, Sybaris crystals. That's your stack from 1 to 10 of materials that they are in the asteroids. So they're running a Bastion campaign where where the players operate the mining guild. There's the orbit is broken up into chunks of 10,000 mile strips. So as you move further and further away from the planet, there's more and more territories that encircle outer layers. We can go out 50,000 miles from the planet is the edge of the asteroid field before it becomes open wild space, and then it's like weeks to get to the moons. And when you get to the moons, there aren't objects, they're portals that open and close with the phase of the moon opening to the Mabar if you were to fly through Sybaris. But if it's a new moon, the portal is closed. So there's no ability to move back and forth. And when it's a full moon, the gate is completely open. And when it's completely open, creatures can come out of that moon gate. But it's hundreds of miles away. So it's not millions of miles away. So it's hardly a threat to Eberron under normal circumstances. But there's clusters of asteroids that will start orbiting these planes that are being populated by the different creatures that are coming through over time through the portal into wild space. My Eberron, while Eberron is shattered, they detonated the core of the planet to prevent demons from destroying the world. It was a sacrifice the gatekeepers were willing to make. But as a result of it, it shattered the world. The core of the planet, you can fly through it to get to asteroids on the other side. All the nations are now on separate asteroid nations. Like Karnath is on its own asteroid. Kabara is on its own asteroid and is further down in elevation than the Corvarian asteroids are. So it's deeper into the wild flux. That's the core of the planet. It's wild magic, like 10th level wild magic at the core of the planet. And as you band out from it, the magic becomes weaker and weaker. The Corvair layer is at basically 0. But Kabara is down at the past cantrips into first level magic, where first level magic can just happen. And then Zendrik is 4 layers down. So 4th level magic, like sending to be able to communicate with people across the continent, or like an arcane gate is like the Traveler, for instance, is like 4th level magic that just teleports people to different positions inside the continent. But it's further down in the atmosphere. Arganessen, where the dragons are at, that's at 8. So like it's super low orbit. So if you try to pass through the core of the Earth to get to the other side, like if you want to get from, say, Zalargo to Karnath in a hurry, you could cut through the core of the planet instead of having to circumnavigate around it. But as you move further out, you have the asteroid belt, and most of the asteroid belt that exists, which is splayed out over 50,000 miles, is the mantle of the planet detonating and being cast out into wild space. And pieces have been fleeing for thousands of years and are out there. Like that's where the orbit of the planes around the moons came from, is these shattered chunks of Earth of Eberron that blew out and then got caught in the planar orbit around the moons. So now they're slowly gaining mass as it accumulates around them. And creatures that can fly, if they can figure it out how to hop from asteroid to asteroid, can close their distance. And each asteroid that the team is mining, if it's like miles in size, it has kyber inside of it. And if it's powerful enough kyber, you can actually draw through into the outer planes, like into the eternal dark. Like the Fell Shadow, which is like an endless kyber space that you're basically crawling around inside of. It's like a subspace dungeon realm where all the darkness and madness resides. So like when you see kyber erupt into Eberron, that's actually just a dimensional extension of the kyber dark fell, as it's like its own subplane, like its own like domain of dread that rests underneath Eberron, that reaches out and touches like Zoriat and Dalcor and Babar. They all touch this fell space. So that's my Eberron. The Mournland is the core of the planet. That's called the Mourning instead of the Mournland now. So anyone that drops elevation down is dipping into Mournland. Zendrik, Kabara, Arganessen are all in the Mourning. Mourning, the Mourning. So there you go. There is a top side and a bottom side, like the asteroids, like Thrain is a large enough asteroid to have spherical gravity. Most of what you know of as Thrain is facing away from the Mourning because it has magical radiation that just pulses off of it. So like sleeping patterns get kind of fucked up. If you live along the edge, like the rim of where the light comes over, you can just walk over it. But you're basically walking into a magical eternal sunset that there's depending on cloud systems can create different zones of darkness. But for the most part, it doesn't get as dark as night does when you go inward. So it's not good to set up society where you need nocturnal scheduling. So everything that's facing away from the morning still gets to experience the night sky. But when you start getting to the edge of the rock, that starts to curve over into the morning. That's when you see like dawn on the horizon, and that dawn never ends until you get all the way down to the bottom of it, and then you're looking up. And then you have the planet's core in the distance as like its own little sun, in between all these asteroids that are floating around this detonated magical core that still has power. So the dragons drop down there, and they've been siphoning off that energy to be able to fuel their prophecies. Their vision is to be able to recreate the planet and pull all the pieces together. So they're working with the gatekeepers to try to send out colossal monsters, kaijus, to collect rocks and send them back to Eberron to spin into orbit, to eventually spin in and then drain into the core. And if enough rocks fall into the core, then it can start rebuilding itself as a solid mass, and they can start building out mantle, and it will slowly rebuild the planet. But it's going to take hundreds of thousands of years to do it. And the rocks that are descending are the rocks that the team is breaking up with their guild, because if they don't break it up, it can hit a community and cause damage. So their job is to break down the rock to the point where it becomes grit. And so there's just like dirt rain occasionally. It's like hail, but it's just dirt. And most of it goes to the core of the planet. Sometimes the whole area gets covered. So everything's grimy and a little dirty unless you're spending a lot of resources to keep your city clean. Like Aundair spends a lot of money on keeping their city clean. Karnath, not really. So there's all this dirt and dust and grit that gets on everything. But there's all these wildstorm systems that blow, that sweep all that dirt off the asteroids back into the core. So it'll eventually accumulate. But it's taken forever for them to do it, and there's not a notable difference. So they don't know if it's actually working or not. But it's going to take them 100,000 years for them to figure out if this is actually having any real effect or not. And that's a long investment. But that's dragons for you. So that's my Eberron. What I like the most about Eberron is that I can actually do that. I guess it's a shitty answer. I'm sorry. But if I were to answer more conventionally, the Warforged. Warforged are my absolute favorite creatures. Absolutely love them as NPCs, as a DM tool. I use docents as a fuel source to make anything sentient. It's like in my Eberron, Warforged are docents. Like that's their consciousness, and you plug them into a body. So a typical Warforged is going to medium or small-sized body out of convenience for operating in meat space. But when they're in space on their own, we've got 30-foot mecha that are designed to be able to lift and haul tons of rock. So like they have these giant beast machines, and they're large enough that they can have pilot seats for a gnome or a dwarf if they wanted to, and they do. But you could just plug a docent into the dashboard, and whoop, that's now your Warforged. I'm actually building a book for that, using my Spelljammer rules that I have linked down below, and that'll eventually get completed. But that's on my list. Yeah, I love Warforged. They're so fucking cool. I did a Pirates of Lazar space opera campaign using the Shattered Eberron. The Lazar pirates hunt. They poach refined ore when they can, and they attack shipping lanes between the different asteroid communities. Like to get from like Thrain to Aundair, it's 2 days. It's like I want to say it's 2,000 miles. It's not that difficult. The Spelljammers that we're using can't do more than 10,000 miles per day. So a 2,000 mile flight, that's only like 4 hours. So it's easy to get back and forth, but it takes time in that 4 hour window when you're coming or going. You can get ambushed by pirates. So you have to have like caravan, like frigates and fighter craft to accompany your convoys going from one island to the other, so that sky pirates don't come and try to pirate you, like as pirates do. So the pirates of Lazar are a major threat, but in one of our campaigns, the fourth prince of Lazar died, and the his niece, for whatever reasons, was the next in lineage that had claim to that prince's title, but she got usurped by his brother, who had previously been outcast. And so when the prince died, he came back in with his hobgoblin allies from Dargoon to help him claim his throne. So now the fourth pirate of Lazar had become basically a Dargoon tribe. And they were all in scorpion ships flying around, right? Because of course they're in scorpion ships. So the team ended up running across the niece that was supposed to be the next prince, but since she had to flee for her life, why is this off alignment again all of a sudden? It's yeah, that's off. How did that happen? Let's grab this, and oh shit, that's my timer. All right, I'm gonna have to cut out of here like really, really soon. Here, and no, I leave this alone. Somehow my map got skewed. So grab this and this. And we skew it back into... Oh, it got off skewed because of when I distorted on the other side. Of course. Of course, that's how that happened. Let's go with free transform, distort. Grab this like that. Okay, we're back to being lined up. Everything is good in the world. And we can just fix this. That goes like that. I gotta cut out of here in just a few minutes. I'm really enjoying this though. I love talking about this stuff, man. I love Eberron. I've been running the same Eberron campaign settings. Like we'll finish a campaign and then we'll start a new campaign and grab another slice of life from it, or a different timeline. We just kind of move around. Like what kind of a game do we want to play? What narrative would we be able to have that fit in? And then let's go build that game and run it. Like that's how we do. Planescape adventures through Eberron realms would be cool. Yeah, oh yeah, I blend Planescape with Eberron all the time. The planes of Eberron, in my Eberron, the planes of Eberron that open and close with the moons, those are like anti-rooms, you know, like ANTE, anti-rooms. They're like transition points from Eberron to the Planescape big wheel. So like the plane of Mabar connects to like Gehenna, Hades, and the plane of negative energy. All three of those planes siphon through Mabar to then provide necrotic energy and dread to the world of Eberron. What is it? Sylvania, I think, is the like the endless forest that connects with like Beastlands and Elysium, and filters and then connects to the Feywild as well. So the Feywild, Elysium, and Beastlands filter through Sylvania to have Fey spirit presence in Eberron. So it takes a blend of different planes, of both inner and outer and parallel planes, blends them through that plane, that Eberron orbiting plane, to then provide that sort of energy or like vibe to the world. Mechanus and Isgard pulling together to create the power to be able to forge Warforged, for instance, through the Shavarith, the Endless Battlefield. So there's a lot of fun ways to be able to blend the elements together, like the different planes together, to come up with the different planes that are unique, like the 13 planes of Eberron that are unique, and then have those then filtered down. So, and then if you go into Kyber, that will take you to like the Tartarus, Gehenna, Hades, the Abyss, and Pandemonium. So there's a wide range of stuff that you can find by going into Kyber deep enough. Transitions you to the outer planes, or Dalkir and Zoriat, and these like Dullor, I think, these transition planes that will then take you to Gehenna or Pandemonium or the Abyss or the Nine Hells, or they're all these like different conduits and worm like we're Jacqueing the multiverse that way, because you can either get there like directly through Kyber, through the outer planes into Astral, that'll take you to the Great Wheel, or through the moons to the other planes that orbit around Eberron, that then also have conduits or pathways that branch off to the outer planes and the elemental planes as well. So there's a big net of different waypoints and methods to get from one plane to another through the prime material world of Eberron, transition planes, Great Wheel, and then out from the Great Wheel back into another plane, like the Forgotten Realms, for instance. But fuck those guys, who cares? Eberron is where it's fucking at, man. It is the best world. And I'm at 757, and you guys got me monologuing, you sly dogs. So I'm going to see if I can just squeeze in some of this color here into the surface so that I can at least feel like I got something productive done in the artwork. I love this conversation, and I am super thrilled to have had it. But I can acknowledge at the same time that this wasn't, I didn't get a ton of stuff done, but I sure as hell got the perspective figured out. So I'm going to call that a big fat victory. So yeah, I should really give myself more credit. I actually crushed it today. This was fucking awesome. So I'm just going to clear all this out right away here. Just kind of rush it. We'll come back and we'll do better later. Man, I love Eberron. I love that we can do that with the Eberron setting, that it actually like makes sense and it works. That's just so fun to me. That's all crystal. Didn't I have a whole bunch of... Yeah, what happened to that? Oh, that's right. It wasn't included here. Shit, I shouldn't have erased that. General ground. All right, that's it. I gotta cut out of here. He says as he draws just a little bit more. It's 5 more minutes, Ma. No, we're doing good. Yeah, we're doing really, really good. This is working out nicely. Cool. Okay, guys. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow morning, and we're going to continue with this. Anyone that wants to hang out and talk shop like this, you're welcome to join my Discord channel. Like and subscribe if you think this stuff is cool. Yeah, right on. Yeah, I love it. I love it. But, I mean, there's no wrong way to run Eberron. That's just what I like to do. I like to tie everything together. But, Demon Deska, Inspiring Agent. Nice, man. Yeah. It was a good campaign. Sorry for having a disjointed conversation, but I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Thanks a lot. Hey, Fox. It's good to see you, my guy. And I will, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Cheers.